Premier, thank you very much for your time here on ENCA. Let's begin with what you told us, I think on Thursday, about lifestyle audits for the EXCO. Is this going to be compulsory for those members, or have they signed anything to agree to these performance appraisals, basically?
Yes, I think it has to be. Anybody in a position of leadership, and given what has been happening in our country, we certainly have to lead by example. And there is no better time to lead by example than is now, given the extent to which there is general concern and uncertainty on the part of the populace in our country. I think we have to lead by example and go forth and be part of this lifestyle audit.
All right. Will these lifestyle audits be extended to the members of your legislature?
For starters, I am doing it in respect of those I have oversight, and that is the Executive Council, including myself as the chair of the Executive Council. Certainly, we would want to encourage other arms of the state to follow suit. But the procurement that we are now implementing focuses on the Executive Council and the chair of the Executive Council.
Let's talk about the corruption that is taking place in the Northwest Province. Many of the municipalities, for instance, being put under administration. None of that has really worked. Some of them have been under administration for some years now, but it doesn't look like there are any changes. Shouldn't there be any convictions? Shouldn't we start seeing any convictions or punishment for people who've stolen money?
Yes, that should really be part of it. The corruption has gone so deep; it has become part of the fabric of government, the way things are done, and these things would need to be rooted out. And in my view, we need to find a way of catching the people who perpetuate this practice that really takes away a lot of development value from the people who desperately need development, and we need to root them out. The challenges are systemic, and so our probe should go way beyond what is presented to us, what we see at the surface.
Premier, I just want to come in there. We've heard those things said before, you know what I mean, about, yes, we should investigate, yes, there should be convictions. There are some municipalities who've been under administration even during your tenure. Have you, as the Premier, done anything in terms of that? Is there anything that you can tell us that is proof that you are dealing with corruption within the province of the Northwest?
Well, certainly, notwithstanding some of the arrests that have been made, I just made the point that it is so deep-rooted that it is not something that can be dealt with overnight. I think we have an opportunity coming up with the local government elections, where we have to make sure that there is thorough screening and selection of candidates who will participate in elections. And subsequent to that, we just have to make sure that we appoint the right people, because this system that overlooks and does not prioritize meritocracy, in large measure, is responsible for this. If you know that I don't need to have exerted myself in my life, I need not educate myself, I need not have demonstrated ethical values, I can just get in because I'm connected, that we have to kill that culture. I think that is a challenge that confronts us.
All right, let's talk about you as the leader of the Northwest Province. Are you still in charge there? I mean, the interim ANC leadership says that your membership has been suspended. So are you really still in charge there? Doesn't that also just weaken your position in terms of trying to deal with corruption in the province?
My role as Premier is defined in the Constitution, and nothing has changed.
So I see it basically means that you don't really want to talk about whether or not you're still at the helm in the Northwest, Premier.
I am in charge. There is absolutely no doubt. I don't expect anybody to act against the constitution of our country and begin to do otherwise. I am in charge. The ultimate leader of the African National Congress gives me the necessary support. So there is no question about my role.
Did you really vote with the opposition? Can you confirm that you voted with the opposition, and this is why the ANC, the interim ANC leadership is saying that you're no longer a member of the party?
I voted, and besides, I don't know what it is to vote with the opposition. I really don't understand that.
All right, Premier, let's talk about some of the municipalities in your province where residents have basically started to complain about some of the municipalities expecting them to get their own services. For instance, water, there's Hartbeespoort and other municipalities. The DA in your province now also taking you to the South African Human Rights Commission when it comes to your province, basically not giving people the services that they deserve.
Yes, it is. It is said that in some municipalities, things have gone so serious, and we have a situation where various members of society are exercising their democratic rights. We need to do what is necessary. We are involved in those areas. Gauteng is one of the areas where we have this kind of problem. And we're engaging with the resident associations there. We're engaging with municipalities and rooting out the problems that infest that place. But certainly we are concerned about those developments.
Premier, do you think your leadership in that province would have been stronger if you were an elected ANC leader and not a premier that was basically brought into the province to deal with factional battles and what was happening during your predecessor's term?
Well, I suppose your question raises the whole notion about two centers of power, whatever that is. I'm sure you can find provinces in our country where there is no so-called two centers of power, but not a total absence of the kind of things you are referring to. I don't think it would be appropriate for me to name provinces where such a thing might be happening.
But do you think that the people would have respected you more if they were the ones who voted you in as their premier, and not for you to be brought in by national government and basically imposed on the people on the Northwest?
I have not picked up any significant measure of disrespect. On the contrary, I think society by and large in this province has respect for me as a person. They have respect for the position that I hold. They have a respect for the manner in which I am responsive to community needs. In any society, you will find deviance. And I think from time to time, we do find deviants with their own agendas at various levels of society. And I'm not perturbed by such deviance. As I say, I have the full support of the ANC leadership in this country.
Very important, Premier, is also the fact that the health department in the province has also been put under administration. What are we doing to deal with that? It's a very important time in the world, and not just in our country or the Northwest, for instance, in terms of what's happening health-wise in the world and vaccination needed for the healthcare workers. But besides that, a health department put under administration, what is the Premier doing about those leaders in that department?
The Premier is leading the fight against the pandemic, and the Premier and the Executive Council have not been hindered in any way by Section 100. Our administrator in the Health Department is a very competent individual, well educated in the health field, and she's just been marvelous. We've had the privilege of being advised having presentations from the top specialists.
But the administrator might be doing her job, but the fact that the department was put under administration clearly states that something went wrong there with the finances taken to the health department, a department that gets much of the chunk in terms of the budget. What are we doing about those leaders there? Are they still there? The administrator might be doing their job, but for the administrator to come in, it means something went wrong.
They are gone. Senior managers, we don't have the HOD, who was HOD at the time of the intervention. There are a number of senior managers who have either been expelled or suspended. In fact, we do have a few who are still under suspension. But I might just emphasize the point. When vaccination rollout, just to give you a practical example, started, we were right up there as a province. I mean, just a clear indication that we've been on course. We started mobilizing against the pandemic in February 2020. About a month before the president announced the state of disaster. So the fact that there is Section 100 in the health department has never really been an impediment in no way. If anything, we have done well as a collective, but this effective performance has been assisted by the lead department, which is our health department.
All right, thank you very much for your time. Of course, that is the Premier of the Northwest, Job Mokgoro, speaking to us there after his State of the Province address.